What's going on, y'all? Seth here, and thank you for allowing me to be an ornament for your virtual presence. And welcome back to the Hillbilly Hypnotist. This is episode 7, and today I was going to conjure up the lost art of homemade chocolate fudge icing. I grew up with this. It's my favorite cake ever. It's what Santa Claus wants at my house, but I never see it being done much anymore, so I thought it'd be a fun one to put together for you. I've got my cake layers mostly cooled down. I've been working in the kitchen all day. Today is Christmas Eve. I get pecan pie, pumpkin pie, Japanese cheesecake, but this is my favorite. So it's real simple. The hardest part's nailing it on the stove. So we'll put it together right quick, and then we'll move it to the stove, and I'll just show you how to nail it and how to finish it off and get it onto your cake layers. But you're going to need milk, salt, sugar, cocoa powder, and then butter and vanilla at the end. And it is 3 cups of sugar, 3 cups of sugar, 2/3 cups of cocoa powder, 1 a dash of salt, and I will in this video I'll leave you a recipe for my cake layers too. I really just wanted to focus on this icing. So mix your salt, cocoa, and sugar together. You want a decent size 8-quart, stainless steel pot to do this in, just so it cooks, cook a little better. Once I got that mixed up, I'm just going to slowly add this milk. Got that all mixed together and wet, and I'm going to move it over to the stove. All right, so what we want to do here is turn your mixture on to a medium-high heat. And we're going to bring that to a boil and go down to medium to continue to cook till it's done. And I don't use it. I wasn't taught to use a candy thermometer, so I have no idea what the actual temperature of the fudge would be when it's done. I was taught to know when it's done by dropping some into tap cold water, and when it makes a hard ball in tap cold water when you drop some in. And so it does take a while to cook, right? You don't want to undercook it. So it's 5:30 right now. So I will time it out as we go, and then I'll show you what that looks like in the tap cold water, and we'll pull it off. We'll add our butter and vanilla and let it sit up even further until we make sure we get our perfect consistency for an icing. All right, we're at the 5-minute mark. We've got a good rolling boil. Going to turn it down to a medium heat and just let it cook there. And stirring, you really don't have to stir much. You can occasionally. Most of the stirring is going to come at the end when you're converting it from fudge to icing. All right, we're back, and I've got my certified authentic hillbilly candy thermometer here, which is just a glass of tap cold water. that alone deserves a subscribe and a like to the channel for such valuable information. So it's been cooking for 27 minutes, and if I take and drop a drop in here, I don't know how well you can see that, but it turns into a ball in there instead of just all breaking apart. I have checked this. A couple of times prior to this, and what happens, it just, when you drop it in the water, it just disperses. But when you're done, it stays together, and you can kind of pick it up and get a little ball out of it. So that's done. So turn that off, take it off the heat. 1/4 cup of butter. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 'Stir that up. And so once this butter is melted, you could take this and put it into a buttered 8x11 baking dish, and you would have fudge, homemade fudge. But that's not what we're doing. We're doing icing. So I'm just going to get this all mixed in, and I'm going to let it sit here and start to get hard in the pot. And then I will get my hand mixer and start breaking it down and just see where it's at. And I may have to add a little milk, but to try to make the perfect icing for my cake. So I will let this sit for a while. We'll keep a time on that. It's 6 o'clock now. See how long it takes this to cool here on the stove. I know it's going to take a while. And, show you what that looks like, get it mixed up, and then get it on the cake. All right, we're back, and I'm going to do this faceless. This is where I need 2 cameras, but I need a lot more subscribers to do that. So it is 7 o'clock. So this has been cooling for 1 hour, and I've turned it on low and mixed it in here just a couple times to help it cool down. And you can see I have a good icing consistency. And sometimes you just nail it and you don't have to add any milk or anything. And this is one of those times that it's just perfect icing and ready to put on a cake. So I've got my first part of my cake layer down. I got kids fiending for the pot of chocolate when I'm done. I'm just going to get a thin layer on this center. And if it was to set up on me while I was doing this, I may have to add milk. We'll see. Because you don't want it to pull your cake apart when it starts to get hard and thick, because it will. Okay, I got that. And then drop my next layer on. And a little trick from Granny when you're making homemade, or just to be safe, this looks like it would make it, but to be safe, you can take some pieces of straw, cut them just a slightly shorter than the 2 pieces of cake, and drop a straw in. And that'll just kind of help it from wanting to shift and shaft, especially if you're taking it somewhere. If you make this cake and make this icing for somebody and you put it on the table, they're going to know it was not from a box in a tub, and they can taste the love. And this has gotten, it really happens fast. So it's gotten a little harder than I want it to be to spread on there, which is good. I'm glad I get to show you this. So I am going to grab some milk. Only a tiny bit. That is a little thinner than I wanted. It doesn't take much milk. Oh, what am I doing? All right. Hope y'all see this well. Boom. Take some of that from the edges and you'll be able to move that up into any missing spots. And that should sit up very nicely right there. Thank y'all for cooking with me today. It's awesome to share this recipe that has been passed down through generations in my family, and it's the most delicious, rich cake ever. And glad to share it with y'all. And it's cool to put these videos out here for my kids to see and have these recipes. And at the end of this, I'll put a picture of the recipes for both the cake layer and the fudge icing that my granny left for me. Have a wonderful and Merry Christmas, everybody.